Hello there everyone, and welcome back to another Movie Makeup Friday. We are back. Today we are going to be creating a look that I'm pretty excited about. I have it pretty much down, packed for you guys, but at the same time I kind of don't. Today we're doing the Wicked Witch of the West. I am excited about this. I am using a fun prosthetic for the nose. We're just gonna stick with my regular chin. I do not have a witch hat, but we're still gonna look witchy today. So, you know, we're gonna do the whole shebang as much as we can. Believe it or not, I'm having a hard time. I tried to go get a hat today and, you know, just could not find one anywhere. So we're gonna make it work. But today we'll be talking about the film itself, how it was created, all that jazz while creating this look. So if that's something that interests you, please keep watching. I will be listing everything down in the description box below of the products that I used. And yeah, I'm excited. Let's go ahead and get started. The first step is going to be putting this nose on. What we're gonna use to put on this nose first, and if you had the chin, you would use the same. I'm using Spirit Gum by Maybelline. What I'm gonna do is put a little bit of it with this little, if I can open it. It really does stick. With its little paintbrush thing. It looks kind of like a nail polish sort of thing. I'm gonna add it onto the edges and just kind of ever so slightly paint it on. This particular prosthetic that I got it from Amazon. First time getting a prosthetic from Amazon, so hopefully it works well. So far it looks good, so I guess we'll find out. And then just stick, 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 stick. I think it's uneven, let's see. Okay, so now is going to be the fun part. Now we're gonna paint ourselves green. It's gonna be a great time. I have two different greens here. I have a water-based one and I have a cream-based one. I've been trying this water-based one and for some reason I just feel like it does not come out as even, you know? So I'm gonna go with the cream-based one today. If I decide to switch it up somewhere in the middle, then I will. But we'll see. I'm gonna start off with a face primer and prime as much as I can around my chin, forehead, all of that. The production of The Wizard of Oz started shortly after basically MGM had seen the success that came from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. They said that the film kind of came out, people were loving it, and it was basically like a story based off of a book. And so once they saw that, they found this story and they said, okay, you know what, we're gonna buy the rights to this story and make it into a movie. They purchased it in January of 1938, and the book was from L. Frank Baum, and MGM essentially purchased it from them. After many, many, many renditions, they finally, you know, were ready to make the film in October of 1938. I would probably have done this differently and painted the nose before I stuck it on. I thought that maybe it wouldn't stick very well if I kind of did it the opposite way around, but this proves to be a little bit more difficult. I can remove it at this point, but I'm like kind of over it. So just a note to you, definitely paint it first. While they were doing the casting, they had a lot of actresses that basically came up and wanted to do this role for Dorothy specifically. When it comes to the Wicked Witch, I don't think there was much of a line. But for Dorothy, a lot of people did come and try to, you know, just become her. One of the leading actresses that they did have in mind that they wanted to use was Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple was a very big actress at the time, a child actress, and so they definitely wanted her, but they ended up going with Judy Garland because they said that she had like pretty good pipes, you know what I'm saying? She could sing and they wanted to incorporate some singing, so that was a big deal for them. They also said that Judy was a little bit more experienced from everybody else who kind of came as well. So of course we know they stuck with Judy, which was honestly a great choice. When it came to the overall casting of everybody, it was a tough project for this one because especially, you know, looking at some of the like pre-production aspect of this film, they had a lot of different revisions, and a lot of scenes that got cut out, a lot of scenes that got added in. And so for them, it was pretty tough to figure out who would play what role. A guy by the name of Ray Bolger was actually casted to play the Tin Man. And Ray was kind of like, he was happy, but at the same time he wasn't, because he really wanted to play the Scarecrow. He wanted to play the Scarecrow specifically because he had a childhood favorite actor by the name of Fred Stone, who played the Scarecrow on stage in 1902. And so for him, it was just kind of like fulfilling that childhood dream of his to be the Scarecrow. At the time, the Scarecrow was casted to a guy by the name of Buddy Ebsen. So after some complaining and saying like, no, I want to be the Scarecrow, I'm wobbly and I'm fluid and I'm not very like tin-like, the directors basically said, okay, that's cool, whatever. You can be the Tin Man, bro. Burt Lahr was then casted to be the Cowardly Lion. James Grapewin was hired to be Uncle Henry. And then Pat Walsh was hired to be the Monkeys, which I don't know why. You know, I need to sit and go back and kind of remember the show or the movie. But I always thought that they were robots. I didn't realize that they were like an actual person. So I thought that was kind of an interesting deal. Now let's talk about who played the role of the Wicked Witch. The Wicked Witch was originally casted for a woman by the name of Gail Sandergaard. She withdrew from the position because at first she thought that she would be kind of sly and glamorous, kind of resembling the witch that was in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but then it slowly kind of shifted and she wasn't as sly and glamorous, as you could tell, and instead was kind of portrayed as like an old hag. That's how they described it. And she was just like, yeah, no, like I don't want to be an old hag. And so they ended up hiring Margaret Hamilton to be the Wicked Witch. When it came to the production of the film, it was definitely not an easy one to make. There was a lot of things that they were doing in this film that was ahead of their time, so to speak. One thing being the tornado scene. In the tornado scene, they had to make one. They couldn't just like go film one in Kansas, like they needed to make one. And so the way that they made the tornado in the film was they took a 35-foot piece of muslin cloth and they hung it. And they basically connected it to like a bottom rung and like moved it around. That was their way of making it. And they filmed it, and that was how they made the tornado scene. Crazy, huh? I want to rewatch that scene, especially after hearing this, because it's like, I never noticed it as a kid. But of course, when you're a kid, everything is like not that big of a deal. It's way less dramatic. You're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, sure. So maybe it doesn't really look like a tornado, but hey, maybe it does. When it came to the, I guess the behind the scenes stuff, obviously this film had a lot of like makeup that needed to be done. It was not a very easy film per se to just walk up on set and do what you gotta do. They said that the Cowardly Lion and the Scarecrow had masks that were made out of latex, and it was one of the first films to use kind of this technique in it. The makeup artist was a guy by the name of Jack Dawn, and they said it took at least an hour a day to peel off this, you know, mask that they were wearing. They said that it actually left permanent lines around the mouth and the chin of the Scarecrow from the peeling process and just putting it on, taking it off, all of that. The part that I found pretty sad was, is that my character here, the Wicked Witch, actually suffered some pretty severe burns while she was on set. There was an accident in Munchkinland when they used a flame effect, and it left her with some pretty serious burns on both her face and her hands. At the time, they would remove her green face paint with acetone, but they had to remove it with alcohol just because there was such severe burns. So that part was not very happy or not very good to hear about. I won't say you hear about this often, but you do hear about accidents like this that do happen on sets every now and then. Definitely not a good thing. What I'm doing right now is in any places that I feel as though I do not have enough green, I'm adding some additional green to kind of give it a little bit more pigmentation. When it comes to this witch here that we're doing, she does have kind of spotty makeup. You see a little bit of like white within it, you see a little bit of green. It's really not a perfect look for the most part. So just, you know, do what you can for the most part. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we are trying to get there for sure. When you are doing this as well, if you can get an eyeshadow that is deep green, you will be better off with that. Because instead of having to, you know, use the translucent powder to just set everything in place, using a green one will help to add some pigmentation back in. Now when it comes to the witch's look, she also has just a very basic look. You know, you can just add a little bit of dark green on the eyes, a little bit of liner. I might make it a little bit more glam, just a little bit more, just because I feel like, you know, you kind of want to look cute. You want to be the Wicked Witch, but you want to look kind of nice. So we're going to use a little bit of this like shimmery green on the eyes to just kind of give it a little bit of a pop. Since she is very heavy with the eyes kind of look, heavy on the brows, I'm going to add a little bit of black underneath the eyes to give it a little bit more of like a grim feeling. Now let's move on to the Cowardly Lion's outfit. The Cowardly Lion's outfit was actually made from real cow hide. Not surprised given the time frame. I don't know if that would really pass nowadays, but real cow, why do I keep saying cow? Real lion hide. There you go. Then we come to something that back in the day they did not know was a thing, and that's asbestos. During a few scenes they actually use asbestos, which is not good. They used, for the witch's burning broomstick, they used asbestos, and then for the scene where it looks like fake snow with the poppies, they used asbestos. Not the move, guys. During the 1940s Academy Awards, they did win a lot of awards. By a lot, I mean like 2 or 3, but still, they won. They won the Best Original Score and Best Original Song for Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Now, what I thought was crazy is that during their process of showing this film, they showed it in San Luis, they showed it in Pomona, they showed it in San Bernardino, then they did other showings that were in Wisconsin, they did some in New York, they did a bunch of different showings, especially early on to just kind of see how it would, you know, play out amongst the audiences. And it was too long. Most films back in the day were only about 90 minutes long. And so for this film, they were well over that. They were kind of in the like 100+ minute sort of zone, 2-hour film, which was something that was unheard of at the time. So throughout these showings, they would kind of try and, you know, pick and choose, see what the audience liked, and cut out certain scenes. There were actually a lot of scenes that did get cut out. You're more than welcome to do some research to see which ones those were, because there was just a lot. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go into detail on all of that. But throughout all of those showings, they really considered cutting Somewhere Over the Rainbow. They said they didn't know if this would really kind of like be good for the audience, if the audience would even dig it at all. So they were like, maybe we'll just cut Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Luckily they didn't, because that is the song that got them Best Original Score and Best Original Song at the Academy Awards. The film was released for the very first time on VHS in 1980, believe it or not. So it was a little bit later in the game. During its original release in the early 1900s, 1940, whatever it was, It actually made about $3 million worldwide, 2 million in the States and about 900,000 outside of the States. Now that sounds like kind of a big amount, right? 3 million, not too bad. Believe it or not, the film actually was over $1 million under what their projections were, which means that they lost money with the film. So originally it was at a loss, but since the film was such a big time film, it was re-released many more times. And so they made their money back. All in all, they made in total of about $29 million. All in all, so they did end up coming up on top, but originally they were at a loss. So the final step real quick on this look that I have is the lips. She has green lips. She looks like you just honestly just add the green that we used on your lips, call it a day. I personally am always big on lips, so I feel like I want to do black. Again, this is something that's up to you. I am just switching it up because I feel like, I don't know, you need a little bit of color, you know what I'm saying? And that basically does complete this look. It's a little bit more pretty, just slightly more pretty, because the Wicked Witch looks very wicked, like very wicked. The only difference is, like I'm saying, looking at this is definitely the lips. I do see a few shots where it looks like she does have a darker lip, but for the most part it's green. And then the eyebrows. We can make these eyebrows so much more ugly, like so much more. You can make them more rounded, make them thick, caterpillar-like, because she was just ugly. You know what I'm saying? That was the point of her character, was to look ugly, to look crazy, wicked, all of that. But today, you know, if you're trying to go out and be kind of cute, you know, this is a good happy medium. This nose is a lot though. I keep looking at myself in the mirror like, ooh, yuck. But yeah, this basically completes the look. And a little bit of the information about the film and a little bit of like the behind the scenes sort of stuff of the casting, what they used for the makeup. Makeup was a big deal in it. And then another thing that I did read in the article as well that I was reading is that this was actually not the first film that was shot in Technicolor. Contrary to a lot of people's beliefs, there were other films that were out using this technique, but this is the one that everybody kind of knows about, and everyone's like, oh my god, see, look, they used it first. While it was a big thing at the time, especially during the transitional scene from the black and white to the color, it was not the first. Overall though, this film is amazing. It is a classic one. I definitely want to do a few more looks from this actual film itself, and I actually want to read the book as well. So maybe in the future you'll catch me doing Dorothy or even the Witch of the East, you know? Linda was beautiful. I would love to do that look as well. All you would need now is a hat to go with it. Get yourself a broomstick, a nice black outfit, and you are set. Thank you guys so much again for watching today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a great time today, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys. Have a good Halloween.